like it's an absolute showstopper. I mean, so luxurious, beautiful, but it was a pain to work with. Ta-da! Like the one with the fluff around the border, because once it dried, it shrunk a little bit. Those two hats are my first ever knitting project. Hi, my name is Maya and welcome to episode 72 of my knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 25th of February 2026 and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live with my gecko. And yes, I got a haircut. So today I have a ton of stuff to show you. So the first thing is I have a pattern release today. I have one finished object. Yes, and I have 3 works in progress and no acquisitions. So a ton of stuff as usual, and I'm super excited about the pattern release, especially about the pictures. But before we go on to that, I want to tell you about what I'm wearing, which is for once not covered by my hair because I don't have any hair left. And this is my Melon Sweater. It's a design I published last year in May, I think, something like that. And it's a kind of no ease, negative ease little sweater in fingering weight yarn, and it has a lovely slip stitch motif and those icord details running along the shoulders and the arms until the end here, and it has folded over cuffs and hems here, and I love it so much, and it took ages to knit and I never wear it because it's too short, because I ran out of yarn, because I bought the yarn before I designed it and I knew it would use a lot of yarn because this is a slip stitch motif. But it used even more than I expected, so I didn't buy enough, and this is hand-dyed yarn, so I couldn't get more. So it's too short, so I don't wear it, which is a shame because it was so much work, but whatever. So the yarn I used is Earthy Sock by Explorer Knits and Fibers, and the main color, so the sort of purple-blue color, is Butterfly Pea Flower, and the contrast color, so the sort of pink variegated underneath, is In Bloom. And I would like to wear it as a layering piece because it's kind of close to the body, so it's easy to put a bigger sweater on top of that when it's really, really cold. But since it's too cropped, I mean, yeah, my belly button is here, so it's, yeah, really short. It's not really useful as a layering piece because then my belly is cold. So, yeah, it's a shame. And right now I'm too hot because spring has come since yesterday. The weather brutally warmed up. I mean, brutally, yeah, we went from like 0, 2 degrees to it's now almost 20 now. So yeah, it's pretty brutal. And I'm super hot. So it's definitely not something I can wear once winter is not here anymore. So yeah, whatever. It's a shame that I don't wear it, so I decided to wear it in front of the camera so that at least I wear it once in the year. So this is about what I'm wearing. So now I can talk to you about the pattern release for today. So today I'm releasing the Holo Hood, which is a hood, and I love it. And it comes in tons of versions and options and whatever, so I'm gonna take you through that with my little list I have next to me so that I don't forget anything. So first, it's all over 2-color brioche, which is why you see the beautiful change in color. The change in color is because of the yarn in itself, but I mean, yeah, it has 2 colors. And it's also completely reversible thanks to that, because brioche is reversible, something. And I did all the little tweaks and details that were necessary so that it would be completely reversible, so that you don't have any unpleasant and weird looking seams whenever you swap the side. And the border is also reversible, and the border I am so proud about because it's a cabled border, but it doesn't have a wrong side because it's an applied cable border, but then you fold it over itself and you sew down the second half so that, yeah, it just, why am I not simply showing you the piece that I have under my hands? So the border here. So this is one side of the project and you can see the beautiful cables forming the waves, and if I swap the side like so, it's the same. And this is the beauty of this pattern that makes it completely reversible. Same around the hood here. So here I use the black color because I ran out of the other one. But this is one side, and if I turn it, this is the other side. Ah, I love this detail. And someone in the test group said that they were pretty scared, I mean, not scared, but anxious about doing the sewing for the border, but actually it was super easy and it went super fast. So, I mean, not fast, but faster than what they were expecting. So yeah, don't be scared. It's a little bit unusual, but it's so worth it, I think. Yeah, anyway, so that's about the reversibility of the thing. And it comes in 2 gauges, which is why I have 2 samples, which I don't usually do when I publish a pattern with 2 gauges, but this time I did. So this one is the sport weight, and this one is the worsted weight. You can see the size of the stitches, that's different. And it comes with 2 closure options on the front. So this one is the cowl option. So here you can open it with a button, and there is also a button on the inside. If I flip it, there you go, here. There is also a button. So there are 2 buttons. And the other option is the scarf. So it's super mega long because I wanted it to be super mega cozy so that you could wrap it around you with both, I call them the wings, but they are supposed to be scarves. And you still have a little bit of length left so that you can either do a knot or just let them hang or do whatever you want. And you can also just adapt the length if you want them shorter or longer. And yeah, it's a great option if you want more versatility with however you want to cover yourself. And it's just a great pattern altogether because it's great for all situations. If you want to cover your head, like with a hat, or if you just want a scarf, or if you just want to be stylish with the hood down, or if you want to have like a dark side out, or if you suddenly want more color out, and you have the border that stands out, and that's a really unique detail. And it's knit from the top down, so you cast on here at the top of the head and you knit it down, and then you bind off the bottom. There's a lot of shaping around the back of the head to follow the curve of your neck and your shoulders. And then you pick up stitches here and you knit either the short version with decreases immediately for the cowl option, or you knit them super long for the scarf version. There are 8 sizes and they go from baby to XXXL adult, which basically means you are an adult with like an adult size head, and you have usually headphones, and you have like super bulky hairstyle, which was the case before for me, not anymore. And you want to cover all of that without having to compromise with the warmth of your forehead and your ears, because usually what happens when you have headphones on and you try to put a hood, then it doesn't cover your whole face because the whole fabric is pulled back by the thing you have on your head. So for this one, if you want to wear it with something underneath, you can select just a bigger size. Otherwise, it's pretty snug because I wanted to also give the option to like wear something over it. For example, if you have a coat or a jacket that has a hood already, like the one with the fluff around the border, and you would like to wear this Holo Hood underneath it, then you can, because there are also some sizes that are a little bit more snug. So basically you can do whatever you want. And just a note, the child sizes, like size 1 and 2 for baby and child, don't come with the scarf option because it's dangerous. The risk of strangulation is real, so I didn't put any options for that. And I also regraded the smaller sizes, so sizes 1, 2 and 3, and a little bit of size 4, because during the test knit, the people that knit those for their children, they said they were a little bit too small, and I could see in the pictures that they sent. So one of them had to block it pretty aggressively to get the correct size, and for some other ones I could see that to cover the front, like the forehead, they had to lift it and there was a gap appearing at the back here, so it was just too small. So I regraded it and I sent it to my tech editor so that she could check the numbers, and it's all good, so the children's sizes should be big enough now. So if you find in the tester's pictures that the children's sizes look small, it's not the case anymore. And also something I wanted to explain regarding yarn estimates. They are a little bit more complicated than what you're used to. Because, as you can see, it's 2-color brioche, so you have the yarn estimates for the main color and the contrast color. In my case, the main color would be the black, and the contrast color would be the blue and the gray here in the front. And to do the yarn estimates, so I put one length estimate for the body, I mean the brioche part, I should say, for main color and contrast color. So there is one length for that, and then there is one extra length for just the border, because in the pattern I tell you to do the border in main color, but you can do absolutely whatever you want. You can even use another yarn if you want to, so I decided to separate those listings. Now, my numbers when I did the yarn estimates told me something weird, which is that you use the same amount of yarn for the border for the worsted weight version than for the sport weight version, which I found pretty bizarre. So I was like, I'm gonna see what happens during the test. And lo and behold, now that the test is finished and I have received the yarn usage from my testers, it is the case. You use the same amount of yarn for the worsted border than for the sport border, which, yeah, I kind of can't believe it, but it is the case. I mean, I cannot contradict the numbers. So you have only one listing for the yarn estimates for the border for both gauges, but of course you need more yarn if you want to do the scarf option. So if you want to know how much yarn you need to use for one hood, you will need X amount for the brioche part in the main color, the same amount for the brioche part in the contrast color, and you will need to add whatever you need for the border in whatever color you decide to use. For example, if you decide to do the border in main color, you will need the brioche yarn estimate for main color, plus the border yarn estimate for the main color, and the yarn estimate for the brioche for the contrast color. It's a little bit annoying, I know, but it's just, yeah, I had to separate things because most people are gonna separate those things in reality when they need the thing. So I just wanted to explain that because I've had feedback from someone that it was a bit difficult to explain, so I am explaining it here for anyone that would want further explanation on that. I think that's it. So, you can get the pattern for 15% off with the code HAPPYHOLO until Sunday, the 1st of March 2026, so yeah, this year. End of day CEST, so my time, Central Europe time. And it's valid on both Ravelry and Payhip. And I think that's it. So thank you so much in advance for your support. Thank you for your excitement over this release. I am so proud of this thing, especially because of the yarns. I haven't even told you the yarn, but it doesn't really matter because you can just use whatever you want. In my case, I use handspun for almost everything. So this one is entirely handspun. So this one you cannot get anywhere. It's hand-dyed just for me by a viewer of the channel. And this brown one is onyx fiber from Woolen Twine Fiber Studio. And it's a mix of Gotland and Swarpels, and the colorful one is Rambouillet. It's kind of between sport and light decay weight, the gauges. And for this one, so the blue and the gray are my first ever handspun. And it's kind of like iron weight, but it goes also to worsted weight and bulky weight, something like that. And it's 100% Corriedale base, and the black is the only one that's not handspun. This is Le Lem's Wool by Bicep, and this is a worsted weight, but kind of, yeah, you can make it go light worsted if you want. So it kind of counterbalances the fact that the handspun yarn is a bit too thick compared to the gauge. And it just goes to show that you can just use whatever you want. Because with brioche, you don't need to use the same weight of yarn for one color and the other, so you can totally mix and match. I mean, don't go too far, of course, but you can totally mix and match slightly different yarn weights. So I didn't really put anything in the yarn suggestions because just do whatever, use what you want. You can use 100% wool, you can use worsted spun yarn, you can use woolen spun yarn, you can use a mix of superwash and non-superwash. You can have something that has silk if you want to have a little bit more drape, or cotton. Maybe don't use linen or stuff like that because, yeah, it's going to be a bit weird and not warm at all, and I'm not sure why you would want something like this that's not warm, but if you want to do it, then please do so. Since there are two gauges in the pattern, it means that depending on the yarn you have, you can just use one pattern or the other, and even if you don't match the gauge perfectly, you can just size up or down. Then there is explanations in the pattern for that. So yeah, as long as you have something between, I would say, heavy fingering and iron weight, you can knit this pattern. So if this doesn't sell it to you, I don't know what will. Anyway, don't forget about the coupon code. Thank you for listening to me, and let's now talk about my finished object. So I have only one, and it's here. Let me put it on for you. Ta-da! I love it so much. It's this cute little hat. It's a 1x1 rib. It's a sport weight, and I made it for Mr. Tinks. Oh, I'm so happy. It's so cute. He needed a hat, and I know he likes this kind of shape, so I was inspired by a lot of already existing hat designs that have this kind of shape, especially the Manhattan hat by to.to. But they are all bottom up, and I really wanted to make it top down because I wanted to use most of my yarn, and I didn't know if I would have enough or what or whatever. So I did it top down, and it was super easy. And this is how it ended up. And this is blocked. And as you can see, so last time I was talking about here, I had a little bit of two pointy weird thing, and they kind of blocked out, I think. There's still a little bit showing up, so we will see with the wear and movement and getting used up how it's gonna hold up. Maybe it's gonna appear again in a while. But worst case scenario, as I said, I can just stick a little bit of piece of wood or a little bit of plastic thingy to just make the edge here straight, but we'll see. And Mr. Tinks loves it so much. I really had to insist so that he didn't take it home with him because I wanted to take pictures of it and show it in the podcast. So here it is. There is no pattern. I'm not sure I'm going to make one because it's kind of copied from other designs. I mean, I don't even own any of those type of hat patterns, so it came out of my brain, but still, I'm not sure I want to release it. So we will see. And the yarn I used is Julie Asselin Journey Sport in the colorway Charbon, and it's a Rambouillet and Targhee mix. It was extremely soft and springy and warm and all of that to knit with, but on my forehead it's itchy. But everything, literally everything is itchy on my forehead. Even store-bought hat, it's itchy all the time. I have never found a yarn that's not itchy, even if it feels like it's super soft on the rest of my super sensitive skin. On my forehead, it's not. So it's probably going to be fine for anyone besides me. So if you would like to find a super soft yarn to make a hat, I recommend this one because it's pretty awesome. And I used 87 grams to make the hat, and they were like 60 grams skein, which is a little bit weird, so I had a bit over 120 grams, so I have a lot of yarn left actually. And I have already cast on something with the leftovers because I don't like leftovers. So this one is for me. It's supposed to be, I mean, it's going to be a headband, like a smaller headband, because I have a lot of chunky and very warm headbands, but I don't have one that's just, yeah, small and not too heavy, that I'm mostly gonna wear while climbing, because what happens when I climb outside, so if I have a ponytail or something, I have the little hair here that always stick out of the ponytail or whatever, and then they go in my face, and when I'm climbing, my hands are occupied on the wall and holding myself, so I can't just let go of the hold and replace the hair out of my face. I can't do that. So I would like to have a very small headband that I can wear whenever I climb outside, and I can wear like this, which is why it doesn't really matter if it's itchy or not, because it's probably not going to be on my forehead. I mean, if it's cold, I'm probably going to wear it like that, but yeah, if it's a bit warmer in the summer, I can wear it like this, just to have my hair out of my way. So this is the plan, and I'm just knitting a stockinette tube, so it's a tube. And I have a slip stitch border on the sides. Can you even see that? Yeah, slip stitch border. And that's it. And I'm using the same needles I use for the hat, which are 2.75. So it's a pretty sturdy fabric, but I want it to be durable and to not stretch out, so I'm doing it at a pretty tight gauge. Oh yeah, something I mentioned last time about this is that it took ages. Like, I'm usually pretty fast to knit ribbing, but this one took so long, and I think I know why. It's because since I have a small circumference, I mean smaller than a sweater or something like that, I couldn't use those needles because they are a bit too long, and I couldn't use them in this small circumference. So I had to use the shorter tips, but the shorter tips are too small for my hand, so I couldn't. So usually when I hold the needle, I hold it like this and it rests here at the bottom of my hand. And the shorter tips don't, because they are too short. And it's really uncomfortable. And I used to have only the shorter tips, and I bought these longer ones afterwards. And I don't understand how I could knit so much with such short tips before, because now it's unbearable. I got so used to the longer ones that I just, I hate the shorter ones. I'm even considering just, I don't know, detaching them or something, because it's so uncomfortable and it's really slowing me down. And that's what made this hat made it take so long, because I just wasn't comfortable to knit. So yeah, it just goes to show that the type of tools you're using make a big difference. And of course, at the beginning, I couldn't use the circulars because I cast on here and then I started increasing. And I was using magic loop, but for some reason, it did this when I had the change of cables, the change of needle. And I don't usually have that with ribbing, because I know you're supposed to change after a purl stitch to minimize the ladder effect. And I know you're supposed to pull not only on the stitch after the change, but also on the stitch after that, all of that. I never have an issue with ladders when I do magic loop. Never. Even when I do ribbing, be it 2x2, 1x1, never. But here it happened, and I don't really know why. So I didn't want it to continue with magic loop until the end, because I didn't want it to have this ugly thing later. So that's why I switched to the smaller circular. But I wish I could have continued with magic loop. But whatever, it's too late anyway. Now it's finished and I don't have to worry about that anymore. And for this one, it's just an emergency portable project. Whenever I finish something and I'm out and about, I can just quickly put this in my bag and then have something to knit on, which is exactly what happened yesterday. So I was happy to have this. Because my other work in progress is almost done. It's something I showed the swatches for in the last episode, and now it's almost finished. Because, yeah, it went fast. I was completely obsessed by it, and I basically finished most of the knitting. So this is what it's looking like. Not much for now, because it's unblocked and it's kind of rolling on itself. It's supposed to be a summer top with an open front. So you could call it a vest, or I don't really know, but it's supposed to be worn as an open top. Open front. No, summer top. So the yarn I'm using is very special. It's, as you can probably see, it's bouclé, but it's not any bouclé, because it's 100% silk bouclé, and it's so luxurious and beautiful, but it was a pain to work with. I have seen worse, but yeah, it wasn't really exactly an easy process. And it's going to be a V-neck, but you cannot really see because it's kind of rolling on itself. It's going to be so much better when it's blocked, and I can show it to you when I wear it on the next episode, but for now, this is what it's looking like. And the star of the show is going to be the big ribbon, or ribbon-like thing that are going to be attached to the front, so that you can close the front, not with teeny tiny I-cord ties, but with a big bow in the front, because I like a bold statement. Of course, you can make a small bow, do whatever you want, but I haven't attached the bow yet, but I'd forgotten to bring my swatches. So those are the swatches I did before I started knitting the thing. So this, which one is which? Yeah, so this one I did on bigger needles, but it was a bit too drapey, too flimsy, too see-through. So this one I did on smaller needle. It's a bit better, so I used those needles to do the thing. And as you can see, it's drapey, but it's going to be even more drapey once it's blocked, so I cannot wait to see the transformation. And then I went ahead and I cast on one of the ribbons. If I can show you the shape without it rolling on itself completely, like this. So this is where I cast on, and then I did gentle increases on one side here, and then there is this point, and then I did rapid decreases here, and it's basically going to be attached to the bottom of the V-neck on one side, kind of like this, and it's going to hang down like so, And on the other side, I'm going to have another one, and I'm going to wrap them together in the middle to have just a little knot, so that I have the cute two ends falling on each side, and it's going to be so cute. So that's the vision. And you are not supposed to knit this piece separately. I just did it because I wanted to get started on something before I did the calculations to cast on my own version. And for the second one, I'm going to just directly pick up stitches from the bottom of the v-neck here, and then I'm going to knit the piece so that I don't have to attach it afterwards. But I wanted to see if this was going to work before casting on the whole thing. And it is working, so I'm going to have the pleasure to sew down bouclé with the bouclé strand. I think I'm going to have to use something else than bouclé because it just gets stuck all the time and you just cannot do any sewing with this type of thread. So yeah, probably going to have to use something else, but whatever. And I can try to put it on, but you're not going to see anything anyway because it's rolling, and since it's silk, it's going to change quite a bit after blocking. So it's going to be definitely not a lot bigger because the swatch didn't move that much, but since I have a lot more fabric here, it's definitely gonna change more than the swatch. So this is what it's looking like. I wanted it to be a bit more dressed up than the usual super déshabillé, can you say that? Thing that I usually do with the super thin straps. So I wanted this one to have a bit more coverage, which is why it has a full back, and also why it has the slightly wider front panels, I would say. The V is still pretty deep because I still wanted it to be a little bit sexy. And yeah, once blocked, it's not really falling correctly, but yeah. Once blocked, it's probably gonna be a little bit lower, like so. So exactly in the middle where I want it to be. And then you're gonna have the big bow here on the front. It's gonna be so cute. And the length is cropped, so it's gonna grow probably to this, which is perfect with super high-waisted bottoms, like my very beautiful pajama pants. And yeah, I'm super excited. I love it so much. And the borders, you cannot really tell, but they are made as you go, and they are double knit. And I used a little trick so that you don't have too much of a gauge difference between the double knitting and the stockinette. And I'm super proud of it. And the result is so perfect. I love it so much. And you also do another little trick to have the border that's continuous at the underarms, because usually when you have a border on the side of a panel like this, when you get to the underarm, you simply cast on stitches here, and then you have a raw edge here. And you can't really like pick up here and do a finishing of some sort, because then you have a transition between the finishing in this direction and the finishing in this direction. And there is a weird stuff happening here in the corner. And I didn't want that, so I did a little trick, which is actually the same one I did for the Melon Sweater. So here you can see, kind of, the I-cord here on the shoulder is continuous at the bottom. So it's only in one color, but at least the I-cord is continuous. But here there's only one color at all, so it's just continuous. And it looks so clean and polished, and especially for the bigger sizes, so I still need to connect it here. I need to do a little bit of grafting. But yeah, for the bigger sizes, especially because you cast on a lot of stitches at the underarms, it's gonna be so clean. And I'm so happy about that, because I don't want to let the bigger sizes out. Not on my watch. One battery change later, I have removed the thing because I'm way too hot, even without it. And I just wanted to show you the swatches for the second version, because it's gonna be the same gauge, but as I mentioned, you cannot see, almost cannot see any of my beautiful details because of the bouclé yarn I used. So I'm gonna make another version with a yarn that has a much better definition, which is this one. And this is Carla by Save the Yarn. I think it's a mix of silk and linen. It's absolutely beautiful. It has a bit more structure than the 100% silk. So it's gonna be a bit less drapey, a bit less, just have a bit more body to it. And last time I showed you one swatch, which was this one, and it was still a bit wet, and I told you it was the perfect gauge, but it's not true, because once it dried, it shrunk a little bit, and now the gauge is too small. So I did another swatch with bigger needles. I hope I wrote down what I used, because I don't remember, but I think I wrote it down. And this one has a perfect gauge. But I don't know if you can see, it's a tiny bit see-through, nothing major, but yeah, a bit too much to be comfortable, especially considering I'm a no-bra girly. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit too dangerous because it's white. If it's like darker color, it's fine, but yeah, not in white. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and use this gauge. However, I think I'm gonna try to embroider something here to hide whatever needs to be hidden. It's gonna be so cute. I'm so excited. I have zero, up until now, I have had zero interest in embroidery, like absolutely none. But recently, I saw an ad on Instagram for a jacket, an embroidered jacket, and I instantly fell in love and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I wanted to buy it immediately, but I never do that. I never buy something on a whim. I always like save it in the corner of my mind, and if I'm still thinking about it like days later, weeks later, sometimes months later, then only I buy the thing. But here, so I saw the ad, it was maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was completely obsessed. I was thinking about it all the time, every day, night and day. When I woke up, I was like, oh, I really want to wear this jacket. And whenever I went somewhere, I was like, oh, I could have worn this jacket, it would have been so nice. And I was just thinking about it non-stop. So I was like, Maya, I think you deserve to buy yourself a jacket. So I bought it, and I received it just before I started filming. So let me show it to you. Are you ready? Ta-da! Oh my goodness! It's so beautiful. I cannot believe I own this now. And I'm so happy I bought it. It's so gorgeous. Like, it's an absolute showstopper. I mean, look at this! Oh, and it smells so good. So this is hand embroidered, but with a machine. So it's the type of, how do you say that? Traditional embroidery from India, and it's made in a small family-run, like a sewing business or however you call that, and it's handmade in India. And the designer is a French person. I think her name is Marion, and the brand name is Red Macchiato. So that's in French, but I guess it would be Red Macchiato or something. So this is the tag. And I don't know, maybe you saw the ads on Instagram too, but I just had to buy it. It's just so beautiful, and it's so me. It's so like in your face, but also not too much. But yeah, I love it so much. Oh, and it smells so good. And it was expensive, which is perfectly normal because it's handmade in India, but not in horrible working conditions. So this is also beautiful and amazing, and I'm really happy to support that. So even if it was a bit expensive, I'm happy to pay the price for what it's worth. I think it was 170 euros for the jacket, which is so little. I mean, if it was 300 euros, I would have understood, but yeah, it's 170. And I mean, oh, it's handmade, it's unique. I'm so happy. So this kind of sparked the motivation to start embroidery. It completely came out of nowhere, which is why I decided I wanted to try embroidering some motif here on the front of the vest to hide the action. And I'm not necessarily going to do motifs like this because I love those, but it's not, I mean, I could do better. Not better in the sense more beautiful, but better in the sense of according to my own personal style, I think. So I was chatting with Sandy from my local yarn shop, Douce Broderie, and Douce Broderie means sweet embroidery. So literally, I mean, in the name, it suggests it's about embroidery more than knitting and crochet. And she knows a lot about embroidery because she used to do a lot of it. And immediately after I sent her this, she was like, oh, I have a book about embroidery that's kind of the same style. And she sent me the Instagram page of the person, and it's so beautiful. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this. Please give me the book. I don't remember the name on the top of my head, but it's definitely going to be on the screen. And I'm sure most of you know this person already. I was just not in the embroidery bubble up until now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be my next obsession. And I'm so excited and I cannot wait. And I'm so happy about my purchase. And I never buy clothes, like almost never. The only clothes I buy are pants and sports gear. And that's all. I don't buy sweaters. I hardly wear jackets. The last jacket I bought was 2 years ago, and it's the big pink one that I showed you in a podcast a long time ago. And I wear it every day in the winter. So yeah, I hardly buy stuff, and I'm like, it's okay. It's been 2 years since I bought a jacket. I have the right to buy another one now, especially if it's to support a small business that I really like the ethos of. So yeah, that's my next upcoming embroidery obsession. Alright, let's talk about my last work in progress, which has nothing to do with that, and it's very, very different. This is it. I don't think you can guess what this is, and if you can, you probably watched my winter knitting plans video, and even if you watch that video, I don't think you can guess what this is. This is a laundry basket, and I'm gonna felt it. So I am using Drops Snow. This is the second ball that's already finished. I only made this much. I have 6, a little bit less than 6, and let me grab the rest of the bag. So I have the Drop Snow, and I have those 2 hats, which I'm currently using to have the yarn inside. But yeah, those 2 hats are my first ever knitting project. I mean, I have knit like garter squares when I was 10 years old, but then I stopped until I was 26, 25, something like that. And those were my first 2 projects. So I bought yarn from We Are Knitters. Basically, I started knitting because I saw ads from We Are Knitters. Seeing ads and caving in seems to be the theme for me. And again, I wanted to buy it, but I waited for like a solid few months, maybe I would say 6 months. I waited. I continued thinking about it, and I was like, I really want to start knitting, I really want to learn, I really want to knit, and I want to make my own pieces, and I was thinking about it all the time, but I didn't have the funds because at the time I was a student, and I was a student, so I didn't have the time either. I was in architecture school, studying pretty hard, and I was like, I don't have the time for a new hobby, I shouldn't start. But then one day, in October 2019, I finally bought a kit, and it was this one, to make those 2 hats, and it was labeled as beginner friendly. This is flat color work, and you had to seam the hat. So this one I had redone because the first one was absolutely disgusting, and then the tension on the color work was too tight, so it didn't go over my head, and the ribbing was too wide, so it was kind of a weird bell shape like this. So this one I redid, but flat color work. Anyway, and the seam looks like this. It's kind of ugly. I had no idea how to do mattress stitch, even though I watched the tutorial, I just couldn't understand how it worked. And this is the other one, so this one is a little bit smaller. The seam is even worse. Fantastic job, Maya. And I never wear them because you only had 1 needle in the kit, and you were expected to hit gauge with that or whatever. And I didn't, of course, so the brim is way too big. So like this, it kind of holds, but then as soon as I move, so yeah, I don't really wear them. But it's a shame because the yarn is beautiful. It's the wool, so the very chunky, thick, 1-ply, I don't know if it's merino or something, but yeah, you see what it is. And I have a lot of it because of those 2. So I decided I'm gonna unravel them. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do with those. I think I'm gonna put them in a dryer and do like dryer balls or something. And yeah, I'm gonna unravel the hats and do the outside of the laundry basket. I don't know how much yarn this is gonna use up. I'm going completely blinded into this. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I think I'm gonna knit this until I think it's gonna felt like 40% in the wash or something like that. So I'm gonna knit it until it's kind of 40% bigger than what I want it to be. And then I'm gonna stop increasing, and I'm gonna start knitting in a tube to have the straight edges on the sides. And when I run out of the gray yarn, I'm gonna swap for this one, and then I'm gonna do stripes or something. I don't know, I have no idea. And I had some issues because this is like 80 meters per 200 grams, so that's a kind of something like that. So it's 40 meters per 100 grams, but Drop Snow is about double. I think it's 50 meters per 50 grams. So that's 100 meters per 100 grams. This is 40 meters per 100 grams. So I'm holding this double, which is very thick. So I'm using the biggest needle I have in my needle set. So I'm using Chaigu, and this is 15 millimeters. I think it's US, no, it's 10 millimeters, it's US 15. And it's tight. The gauge is tight. It would be better with 15 millimeters. But it's fine because I want the basket to have like to be sturdy, because I don't want to just flop whenever it's empty, and I want to be able to hold it, like move it around without the whole content just flopping on the ground whenever I hold just one side of the basket. So it's fine if the gauge is a bit tight, and we'll see what happens in the felting process. I have no idea. And my goal is just to use up everything. I think in total I have like 500, 600 grams, something. Yeah, it's a lot. So this is going to do wonders in my bust stashing, stash busting goals. And it's a good thing because I have been knitting on very thin and tiny stuff, like the small hat in sport weight, and the little, it's also kind of sport weight, summer top, and just swatches that don't really count. And I did get a lot of yarn in February, if you followed. So I need this out of stash, and it's gonna go so fast. I did this morning. I mean, I cast on in the middle yesterday night. I had like 3 rounds, and then I did this maybe 1 hour in the bus. So yeah, it's going really, really fast. So I think I can finish it in 1 day, probably Saturday. And then it's gonna be out of stash, and I'm gonna be able to count this whenever I film the February stash update. That's gonna come next week, which is the perfect transition into the outro and the end of the episode, because I don't have anything else to add, I think. So yeah, you will find me again next week for the stash update video. And no, one thing more, I forgot to mention. The giveaway winners haven't contacted me. So I did a giveaway in episode, I don't remember which one, and I pulled 5 winners, and 3 of them answered, but I was still waiting on an answer of 2 of them. So I called them again in the last podcast episode, but they still didn't contact me. So I'm gonna draw 2 new winners. I did already draw 2 new winners. So those are to win a free pattern of my library, so 1 free pattern. And you need to send me an email and just tell me like, I want the giveaway, can I get this pattern please? And then I will just send it your way. And I pulled among the commenters from the original podcast where I did the giveaway it was for the 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So the first person is Megan Johnson 906, and the second person is Happily Knitted, which is Nora, which is someone who already won the first time the giveaway, and she already answered to me, so she already got her prize. And you cannot win twice. I mean, I never said that in the rules, but it's pretty obvious you cannot win twice, so I redrew someone else to replace her. And that person is Tainad0914. And those 2 people, you can contact me via email and claim a pattern of mine. And if you don't know yet which pattern you would like, just tell me you don't know yet, and I'm just going to give you a coupon code so you can choose at a later date which pattern you would like. So congratulations to the two new winners, and hopefully this time you're gonna answer. So this time I think that's all. I think I have talked about everything. Don't forget the coupon code to get the Holo Hood pattern. And by the way, the name Holo Hood was suggested by a viewer in a comment, because when I showed the first version here, it looked a little bit like a holographic kind of color scheme, going from purple, pink, stuff like that. That's why the person commented the Holo Hood, because it reminded her of that. And I found the name super cute and super snappy and fun to say, so I decided to keep it. So thank you, Lexi. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here with me. And I hope to see you again next time for the, I wanted to say spinning update. No, the bus stashing video for the month of February. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Happy knitting. I love you. Bye.